Hey friends, this is Tasha. I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel, Tasha Ford, Tasha Ford. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video, invite some of your friends or coworkers to come in and subscribe to my page, watch some of the videos, check them out. If you have any questions about any of the topics that I'm discussing, leave a comment. Just whatever it is that you want clarity on, or it could be another topic you want me to discuss, but I would like for us to be a little more involved in the discussion about overcoming negativity, realizing what things are negative, but also discovering who you are. So the things that I'm talking about, it is to help you to bring insight, to bring awareness to things that have been going on in your life, things that have gone on in your past. But although you experienced some of these issues, some of these problems, you may not realize that it has affected you emotionally. It has affected you psychologically. And not everybody's the same, so the video may not apply to you, and that's okay. But for the ones that have been able to identify with some of the things that I discuss on a video, then use it and share it and ask me questions if you want a little more clarity to something that I discuss, or you want me to go in a little more detail about a certain issue. So look through the videos. It's maybe like 14, 15 videos. So just go through those, and the things that I talk about, it kind of introduces things that are in our immediate environment that impacts us and influences the decisions that we make, and then it leads us to a self-love topic, just to really start a journey of loving ourselves. And many of us may not realize that some of the behaviors that we have engaged in, it was us really subconsciously not realizing that we don't have the love for ourselves as we proclaim sometimes, because we would not allow ourselves to get into certain situations and certain relationships with certain people, because we're able to identify certain things when we see them. So let's say the relationships that I was in 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I would definitely not get back into those relationships, because I've learned to value myself. I've learned to respect myself. I've learned to love myself more. So when I first meet somebody, you can tell, like, if it's the same type of behavior that you've dealt with before, and you've learned to say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to go this route. This is not what I want to do. I'm not going to do this again. This isn't my first rodeo. So just leave it alone right there. If you know that the last person you dealt with, or the last couple people that you dealt with, kind of have those same behaviors and have that same pattern, then you already know that you're probably going through some of the same stuff that the last person put you through. So it's no need to say, you know what, it may be different, or, you know, that was so and so, but now this is so and so, and you know, he got a lot going on for himself. But sometimes we know when that person may not be quite right for us. So we have to pull off our delusions and put up our fantasies of saying, you know what, he's different from the last person. When you see those signs from the beginning, just don't even get involved with it. Just keep it moving, and then learn to start creating friendships with people that kind of match your style, that kind of match your personality, that match the qualities that you have. And that's one other thing as far as discovering yourself, is when you discover the qualities that you have, the characteristics that you have that you like about yourself, you can start looking for those same characteristics in somebody else. And so once you do that, it can teach you to start looking for friendships or meaningful friendships with people that have those qualities that you can learn to trust, that you can say, you know what, I think I can trust this person, or I think I can trust this person to lead my family one day, or I can trust this person to be a great friend one day. If I'm in need, they can help, or if they're in need, I don't mind helping. So the friendship or the relationship is more balanced out, it's more equaled out. So you have to learn that when you meet people, you have to set your expectations. You have to ask them what are their expectations of you, and you have to know your expectations of them, and you all discuss that. And that's in any type of relationship or friendship that you're in, because there always has to be balance in those relationships. So the thing that I want to talk about as far as self-discovery is knowing the things that you've experienced, or knowing the things that you've experienced, what came out of that. What came out of that loss. And a lot of times that's how we discover who we are, is when we experience a loss. It could be when we experience a breakup, when we experience a divorce, when we have to go through that personal hardship, and that may have us in a rut, but we can get something out of that, where we can say, you know what, I didn't know I was this strong person, or I didn't know that I would be able to harm somebody like that in such a way. Because when your feelings are hurt, you don't know what you'll do. You don't know if you want to jump on somebody, hit them with a baseball bat, you know, whatever it is, when somebody plays with your emotions. So when you're going through relationships, and when you're going through a loss of a relationship, you really find out who you are, and you find out the things that you're capable of doing. Because some of us may have stalking tendencies. Some of us may have little violent tendencies where we didn't realize that we have, or we may have those verbal outbursts where we crying and yelling and screaming and all this kind of stuff, where we don't handle rejection, or we don't handle losses very well. So when you're going through that, you'll get to learn who you are, and it might surprise you, like, well, dang, I didn't know I was capable of doing something like that. Well, that's one thing that you know about yourself, and it's good that you know that, and it'll be okay as long as you know, okay, well, I can't be pushed to this level no more. I can't be pushed to this extent, because now I know what I'm capable of. And all of it is a part of a process of getting to know you. So you know, if you're going to act out during a loss of a relationship or something like that, then you definitely want to stay away from people that provoke you to do certain things, even though you still have to apply that self-control. But you don't want to get involved in those relationships where it's always a tit for tat. This person did that, now you got to do that to show them they can't handle you, or they can't play you. Those kind of relationships or friendships, just leave them alone. Another loss that help us to discover who we are, it could be a job loss. When you go through that job loss, a lot of times we can take that as rejection. If we're fired, we can take that as we're not good enough, or our supervisor, managers don't think that we're good enough to fulfill the responsibilities of that position, and we start to internalize that, and we start feeling bad about it. But it's not for you to feel bad about it and have a pity party and just be so down and hard on yourself, when you can use that as an opportunity to say, you know what can I improve on? And you got to be honest, and you got to be realistic, and it may hurt because you're putting a mirror in front of your face to identify what your flaws are, what your faults are, and it's okay for you to do that. So like I said, going through that job loss, and then depending on if you were already kind of having a hard time with that particular job financially, so now that income is gone, you may be completely at a loss of saying, what am I going to do? So you discover some stuff about yourself when you're going through that financial hardship that you may not have known about yourself. So, and it could be just knowing that you are creative, because if you lost that income, now you want to tap into those natural skills and natural abilities, and you start doing something that may be cooking, and you realize, like, you know what, I can start selling dinners, and you know, that's something where you've identified and learned that strength based off that hardship that you went through. For some people, a hardship could be losing a pet. It doesn't have to be like a person. It could be a pet. Some people see their pets as their children. And so when you have a pet that you've spent a lot of time with, losing that pet is a loss. And going through that loss, you go through the same grieving process of mourning the loss of a person. When you go through those stages, you may realize, you know what, I just learned something about myself. I realized that I would rather be around people. I realized that losing my pet made me realize how lonely I am. So maybe I want to start developing new relationships with people. Maybe I want to start being a little more sociable with people. And so that's one positive that you can pull out of that. So the same losses that you experience that may be perceived as something negative and that kind of push us into a negative state, you can also turn those things around and say, you know what, I can use this as a positive, and I can increase my knowledge of myself, increase my awareness of myself, and start discovering who I really am. One thing that I learned a long time ago is a SWOT analysis, and it's something that was done in a business aspect, where a business would kind of look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, or the threats of in their business arena. But you can also do that for your personal life, your personal self, and that's a way that you can discover yourself. So research SWOT analysis. That's SWOT. It's an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So when you research that, you can use that as an opportunity to help you come into yourself, to help you discover yourself, to help you be able to enlighten yourself, increase your awareness of yourself as far as your strengths and your weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats that can help you grow into the person that you want to become. So when we experience our day-to-day activities, our day-to-day disappointments, our day-to-day lives that we sometimes feel like, I just cannot get this thing right, I cannot get this right, that's an opportunity for us, although we may not feel like it, but you got to reach in for that inner strength and pull out some of that motivation that's just lying dormant in there. You got to pull it out, because a lot of times when we go through situations, or we just kind of automatically going through our day, kind of like on autopilot, so we're really not taking the time to think. We're just on autopilot, living our day, doing our same routines. But sometimes you just got to think. It's 2019, it's a new year. Get you a planner, get you a calendar, get you something where you can start your year off right, to say, each day I'm going to do something that helps me discover who I am. Each day I'm going to do something to teach me how to love myself. I'm going to start doing personal rituals. It could be meditation, it could be mindfulness, and I know for some people this may be some weird stuff, like, this girl done lost her mind. What is this? What is she talking about? Because from the hood where I'm from, we did not do meditations, and we did not do this mindfulness stuff and this yoga and all this other kind of stuff. Yoga, maybe some people, but all this other stuff that's so unfamiliar to the hood life where I'm from, we didn't do that. But now that I've been introduced to some of those things where it actually helps for you to have your mind distract you off of all the anxieties that we experience throughout the day, and just live in the present moment. And that is so hard for some of us to do, is to live in the present moment and not have those anxieties about the future, not having the anxieties of not being able to pay our bills, not having the anxieties of worrying about our children and what they're up to and what they're doing, or the anxiety of our parents, the anxiety of our relationships, just different anxieties that we oftentimes experience on a day-to-day basis, that sometimes that we have to just escape from that. We need a mental escape where we can say, okay, I need to be in the present moment. Let me take myself to the present moment. And when you take yourself to the present moment, you'll learn to be grateful for the things that you have. You'll learn to call out those things, as the old people say. My grandma would say, count your blessings. You better count your blessings. And when you are bringing yourself into the present moment, you're able to do that. You're able to say, you know what? Thank you, God, for waking me up. Thank you, God, for letting me have use of my limbs, to let me have my eyesight, for letting me have to be in my sound mind, as my grandma would say. And those things are so important for us to just be more appreciative of the little things. But when we're so caught up in our future anxieties of wanting things to be right, wanting things to be perfect, making sure we have everything that we need for the future, it takes us away from the present moment of life that we're missing out on. We're missing out on a lot of things. So we just have to kind of draw back in a little bit and just focus on what's going on now, what's going on today, what is going on in my life right now. And that can help you to discover who you are, discover what you like about yourself, notice something about yourself that you hadn't noticed before. Like, man, you know what? I really am patient. I'm a patient person. I'm a kind person. But you don't realize that when you're going day in and day out, just, hustling, busting. And I get it. I did it too. So I can understand. And one day, we're going to be those older people that our younger generation are talking about, where they say, my mama used to tell me that, or this old lady named Tasha that used to do those videos, I remember her saying that. So we have to take heed to the generations before us, and take heed to some of the things that they told us that we are experiencing now. Just like the younger generations are going to have to take heed to the stuff that we try to tell them, but we think they're so hard-headed they don't listen. But that's the same thing that our mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers told us too. So that's okay. But like I said, just learn to start focusing in on the present moment. Focus in. Look up meditation, look up mindfulness, look up positive visualization. I know my daughter came home one day, and she's in kindergarten, and she came home doing this, saying she need to calm her brain, because she was doing this, calm her brain because her brain was on fire and she needed to think. And I was like, how did you learn that therapy technique? Because I didn't know she was doing therapy. But so okay, but that's good when they teach them that in school, because when they're having their little moments of not being focused and paying attention, they can learn to draw back into their inner self and say, let me think, let me focus on the present moment, which that's bringing them back to the present moment. So share the video if you enjoyed the video, or if you think somebody could be blessed by the video. Like the page, subscribe to the page, like the video, and share the video, and leave some comments and give me some feedback so we can have a little more conversation. You can ask some questions, and then I can bring a little more energy to the video, because now I know I have an audience that's interested in what I'm saying, so I'll be able to get some excitement from that. So I know, like, you got some questions, like, I like that Q&A, like, okay, you got some questions, I'm ready, I'm on it. So yeah, just watch the video if you like it, share it, whatever. Subscribe, Tasha Ford. Thank you.